Carrie with Canary Quilts, and welcome to the first installment of the Midnight Moon Halloween quilt along. This is a quilt along being put on by Moda Fabrics, and it's using the Midnight Magic 2 fabrics and the Summer Moon pattern by Carrie Nelson. So I have links to all of this stuff down below if you like what you see, because I love it. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. There's a ton of blocks in there, and the Moda Fabrics is doing this, and they're doing 2 blocks a week, and I got started a little late, so I've got the first 4 blocks here, but I'm just going to be like journaling my 2 blocks each week. So I wanted to go through and show you what I've done so far. We've done an album block, which I've never done before. We've got a churn dash block, which I did just a few weeks ago in a little table runner that I showed you. A fool's puzzle, never heard of that block either, and that was an interesting block to put together. And then a capital T block, which I have never put together, and that looks really cool in the camera. I like looking at that through the camera. So what you do is you're going to put together 3 different sizes of these blocks. So like this block, here's the large size, that's the small size, medium size, and that's the small size. So you're going to have all 3 sizes of these blocks in your quilt when you get down to the end. This quilt will be, I think, 70 inches when it's done. It's a fairly large quilt. I don't remember, but anyway, I don't care because it's going to look cool anyway, so I don't care how big it is. And then, as you can see, the medium and small blocks are going to have these extra little borders. I like kind of like sashings added onto the blocks also. So we haven't gotten to that. That's going to be at the end. But there's going to be 2 blocks per week that they're going to be doing. And they kind of give you tips and tricks for putting the blocks together. And then I'm going to show you kind of how I put them together also in the video. So, like I said, the links for the fabrics are down below. The link for the pattern is down below. My mom loves this pattern. She doesn't want to do it in Halloween, so she may get the fabrics that are shown here. And there's a dark version of this also, like blues and greens. It's really pretty. So, to get started, I'm going to start this way. I'm going to start with the album block, churn dash, fool's puzzle, and then capital T, and I'll show you how I put these together. Okay, I'm starting with the album block for the Midnight Moon quilt along by Moda Fabrics, and I cut my backgrounds just like they said. Piece A is going to be here, and I've got them by size, large, medium, small, because you'll be doing 3 blocks. And then my B's are all going to be out here, and they end up being triangles, but when you see how we cut the block, you'll see that we're going to make, these are going to actually be these strips, and then we're going to cut the block on a diagonal out of everything. So we'll end up with what looks like triangles on the end. But that's where all of these are going, is on the outer edges. Large, medium, small. This is these 2 patches here in the middle. And then if I would have cut my colors like they said in the pattern, I would have had too many cuts, so I just cut as I went. So I need 2 of D, which are the longer pieces right here. And this is, again, large, medium, small. I need 6 of E, which are these in between, right here, these colors. So I just randomly kind of cut 2 out of each one, so each block isn't going to be exactly the same. So large, medium, small. And then the 2 patches on the ends here are pattern number F, and I cut just 2 of those. So if I would have cut the way they wanted me to, I would have had like 4 extra of these and 2 extra of these, and I didn't want that. I want to save my fabric, so I took a little bit of extra time and just cut what I needed. So I'm going to start assembling this with the large block so I can kind of get a feel of what it's going to be like to put this together. Okay, I'm going to start assembling this, and I'm going to start at the top with this B. And then I need an F square, and that's going to get centered. And then I need 2 more B's that are going to go on either side of this F. And then I'm going to need one of these large D's centered, which 2 more B's on either side of that. And then I need one of these E's, which is going to get centered on this seam, and I need another E that is going to get centered on this seam with the C in the middle, and 2 more B's on each side. So we need another half that is exactly like that, and then we're going to have our centerpiece that goes in the middle here. So let's build our centerpiece. So we need this long A, which is centered here, and then we need 2 more E's, and then 2 more B's out here. So that is like the center between these 2 halves. Okay, so let me turn it over. Let's start building this half. So I need to center this patch, and I need 2 more B's. Oops, I want my orange over here. I don't want to put them together. And I need 2 more, or those were E's, sorry. 2 more B's. Come on, fabric. I need the long piece centered here with 2 B's on either side of that. Our last F patch here with 2 B's on either side of that, and then a B on top. So there you go. Probably hard to see with all the white, but that's how our block is going to get put together. And then we're going to come in with an 8-inch, I don't have an 8-inch square, but I have a 9, but we're basically going to cut it out like that. That's too big, but that's kind of how we're going to cut it out. So line it up here, and then you can see where these triangles will end up over here. So now what we got to do is put together all our blocks. And when we do, we're going to iron towards the outside here. Except for here, looks like we're ironing towards the white. Yeah, we're always ironing towards the white. So I'm going to just start putting these together, iron towards the white, and we'll come back and see how we did. Okay, I've got all my rows sewn together, and it's all ironed towards the white. So what we need to do is center all of these and sew them together. Pattern doesn't tell you how to center it. So what I'm just going to do is I've got an erasable marker here with heat, and I am just going to mark the centers of all these rows. That way I'm not trying to eyeball it or anything like that. Okay, so I've got those all marked with the centers. I need some clips. Okay, there's some clips. And I am going to take my marks and line them up, and that's where I'm going to pin them together. And so this is where we're going to sew the side I clipped at a scant 1/4 inch, and we only need to sew this section here. And then we'll sew this one to here at a different point, but I think to save some time, I'm just going to go down and do every other row here, get them sewn together, and then I can like sew these 2 rows to that one. So line up these centers. And then once you do that, you can start lining it up down the line here and clip it. And then for each half, once we get these sewn, like Moda says to use a scant 1/4 inch. I don't believe the instructions say to do that, but that's what Moda Fabrics is suggesting. So we'll sew this a scant 1/4 inch, and then we're going to iron all our seams towards the top of each half. So this half will be ironed this way, and this half will be ironed this way. And then we'll come back and we can put them all together. Okay, so now we've got these are sewn right here together. So let's start putting these together, matching our centers. And then the other thing I want to do is, let's put this one on here, and we can get both of these sewn on at the same time. And then once we get this sewn on, this long middle one, each side of this seam will be ironed towards the halves that it's on. So I'm ironing it, or I'm attaching it to this top half, so this seam will be ironed towards this half, just like this seam here. And then when I attach this to this one, it will be ironed towards this side. So let's get these lined up. And we can get these 3 seams sewn, and then all we'll have left to do is sew this half to this half. Now we have this half sewn to this centerpiece. We have this half sewn together, so all we have left to do is to put this half onto the other half, and this long centerpiece is ironed towards the top of this side, and when we iron it onto here, we'll iron the seam towards this side. So I'll line up my centers and go get this sewn and get it ironed. So there's my almost finished album block. You need this large one, you need to square out at a 8-inch square, and I don't have an 8-inch ruler. And that is the unfinished size. So what they want you to do is make sure you're a 1/4 inch from all of these points right here. So I think what I'm going to do is take a straight ruler, and I'm just going to cut each edge, put a 1/4 inch on all of these points, And then I'm gonna cut, and I'm gonna do that around the edges, and I should have an 8-inch square. So I'm gonna use this great big ruler where I can see my 1/4 inch a little better. So 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. Looks good to me. What do you think? I like it. That's how I'm going to do it, because I don't have an 8-inch square. So I'm going to get the other 2 little ones done just like this, and I'll show you when they get done. Well, what'd you think? What'd you think of putting these blocks together? They're pretty cool. They're very enjoyable blocks to put together. These are especially on the bias right here, so I'm going to put these away and try not to touch them until I get ready to start putting the quilt together, because I don't want them to get stretched or wonky or anything like that. So let me show you what I do. I'm keeping all my blocks together in a Ziploc bag like this that I found on Amazon, so I can just keep them in there and they'll stay flat and they'll stay protected also. So that's how I'm going to be keeping my blocks together until we get to the end of this. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you're following along on this quilt along, let me know, or send me pictures on my Facebook page at canaryquilts.com. I'd love to see how yours are looking too. There's also a hashtag, Midnight Moon QAL is the hashtag, so you can see what other people are doing also. And some people are doing these colors, so it's pretty cool to see. So thank you very much for watching this video.